team record, and again, they are getting it done via pitching. You look at the overall ERA numbers in all of Major League Baseball. Reds 26th overall, the Indians in the top 10, but the starter ERA is where the Reds have been hanging tough in the mid-pack and actually better slightly than the Indians, in the bullpen ERA still has some work to be done there. It'll be Wade Miley getting the ball tonight for the Reds. Started off the season with 2 scoreless appearances, and then he ran into trouble as you look at his numbers overall. 5 starts, 3-2, 2.67 ERA, but his worst start of the season came against these Cleveland Indians back on April 18th. 5 innings, 4 earned runs in a Reds loss, so he'll be looking for redemption there. Also, numbers not great at Progressive Field. One guy that he'll try to avoid is Franmil Reyes, who has had it going on this season. 400 average at home, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs. Overall, his 16 extra base hits, tied for 4th in the American League. 626 slugging percentage, top 5, and 8 home runs, tied for 6th in the American League. He'll be in the middle of that Indians lineup as the Reds look to claim the Ohio Cup once again. A lot of twists to the Reds lineup tonight. One, Shogo Akiyama is back. That means changes abound with Votto out and more. John Sadak, Chris Welsh have more details when we come back.
Progressive Field. Wade Miley is ready. The Reds are ready. The ignition of a 3-game set in Cleveland against the Indians. Here's the Reds lineup, brought to you by Rally House. Nick Senzel leads off. He's 5 for 10 in the leadoff spot. A couple of walks this year. Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos. Mike Moustakas gets the start at first base. Started there 8 times a season ago. Eugenio Suarez at third. Tyler Naquin plays in Cleveland for the first time as a visiting man. Tucker Barnhart, Kyle Farmer, and the 2021 debut of Shogo Akiyama. Jesse Winker serves as the DH. He has been outstanding this year, Chris.
And it really doesn't matter, John, where they put him, whether it's in the leadoff spot or anywhere else. Today he's batting in the number 2 slot. He's hitting the fastball as well as anybody in baseball. You see the batting average is up there around 360 for Winker. His on-base percentage is Joey Votto-like right now, and he's slugging the ball all over the place, too. You know, watch for him and that power to left and left center field. When he starts going that way, boy, he's not a guy you want to pitch to.
He's particularly great at Progressive Field. It's the best road park for Winker in his career. He hits .421 here. On base at .542.
He might be the only one I know who likes Cleveland that much.
He would say Cleveland rocks. Here are the numbers for Zach Plesac, brought to you by Western and Southern. He's excited to not face the White Sox, who had mauled him in a couple of starts.
Yeah, that's true. You know, Plesac's an interesting guy. He's 26 years old. He's a big guy, 6'3", 220. He throws pretty hard, but he doesn't get a lot of strikeout pitches. He's really living proof that you can get away in Major League Baseball nowadays by not striking out a ton of hitters, but getting a lot of soft contact. If he gets the ball on the ground, he has a good night. If he doesn't, they run him out of there pretty early.
And the Reds have had success against Plesac. They saw him last year in Cincinnati. Castellanos and Votto took him deep. He took the loss, gave up 3 runs in 7 innings. And the year before, he was tagged with 3 homers and took the loss, gave up 4 scores. Senzel, Votto, and Suarez went deep. Cleveland's defense brought to you by your local Ford dealers. In the outfield, Eddie Rosario, Harold Ramirez, and Jordan Luplow. The infield, Jose Ramirez, Ahmed Rosario, who can play outfield as well, Cesar Hernandez, and Josh Naylor, who booted a ball that had grand consequence against the Reds. Austin Hedges catches. Their primary catcher, Roberto Perez, fractured his ring finger when a cross-up occurred earlier this week. He had surgery today, so Hedges is now the primary receiver.
Yeah, that's always tough when you build your success around pitching like the Indians have, and then you lose your number 1 catcher. But, you know, they were able to get some pretty good backs up. They signed Rivera, who's a 37-year-old, very experienced catcher, and, you know, never put anything by Terry Francona. He's one of the best managers in baseball, has been that way for a long time.
His team has won 9 of 11 including 5 in a row. They have homered, Chris, in all of those 11 games.
It's pretty amazing, really, that these guys are in first place. If you start matching up their lineup with other teams in the American Central or even the Reds, you say, well, these guys shouldn't. This is not a first-place lineup team, but they are getting it done right now, and they are looking down at everybody else in the division.
And they're particularly good in the bullpen. They have a lot of hard throwers. Reds have already seen Emmanuel Clase in his 100-plus mile-per-hour cutter. Well, Nick Senzel stands in. Downstairs target. Plesac gets a chopper. Handled by Ahmed Rosario. And Senzel done on one pitch. He gets that turn in the leadoff spot. Akiyama in the 9th position. So Winker drops down to 2. He is the top hitter in the National League by average. And oddly enough, everybody talks about Great American Ballpark, and rightfully so. It can be very run-scoring and home run friendly. Winker does better on the road. He's hitting .390 on the road this year.
It's always great to have a game that travels.
Right. Swing and a miss. Our AAA in the driver's seat breakdown on the bearded Jesse Winker. See the numbers on the bottom bar, hitting .418 this year against right-handed pitching, tied for the best in baseball with Mike Trout. That misses just a touch low. That average, the best by a Red through 29 games since Joey Votto in 2011. And you touched on it, Chris, how he handles the fastball. I mean, the numbers are great against the fastball. He's been very aggressive. And he actually sees 3 straight heaters here.
Well, what they're trying to do really with Winker is elevate that heater. I mean, he hits the fastball, but nobody hits the fastball all over the strike zone. I mean, most guys, specialize in being a low ball hitter versus a high ball hitter. Everybody likes it thigh high, but, it's one of those things where Plesac has, a fastball, but it really doesn't have that really high spin that you get at the top of the zone of some of the high strikeout pitchers. So, he might be setting up his breaking pitch to get Winker out either this at bat or later in the game.
Ways off, appeal, no go.
Plesac has 4 pitches, actually. Nice 4-pitch mix: fastball, slider, curveball, and changeup. And that slider is by far his best pitch as far as batting average against, and his changeup is also, or a curveball, also a very good pitch. Maybe not so much fastball and changeup.
Shift is on. That pitch away. For all of Winker's aggression, if he's not getting on with a hit in early contact, he does eventually work some really deep counts.
That is a talent that will make you have a long major league career if you have good idea of the strike zone.
Payoff. It's a piece.
And I think you eventually develop a reputation around baseball for having a good eye. And umpires understand that. I think it's worked very much for Joey Votto as well. I mean, he seems to me, it's anecdotal, but he seems to me to get a lot of pitches that are marginal to go in his favor now that he's got a lot of years in the major leagues. And I think you earn that, and Winker's on his way to doing that as well.
It is hoodie weather. He's a Buffalo man. Rocks that one foul, checks the bat.
He's a Buffalo man raised in Florida, though, I think, right? You get accustomed to those palm trees and warm weather in a hurry as you watch the Weather Channel and see what's going on in Buffalo in February.
But he still regularly makes his way to Bills games in the thick of the NFL season.
Club seats.
He's with the Mafia. Come on, he's Winker. And he's down on strikes. Well, still a good AB. Made Plesac work there.
And finally zipped the fastball by him. A little bit of action on that pitch. He saw just about everything that Plesac has.
Now he's got to contend with Nick Castellanos, and the off day probably came at the best of times for Castellanos. A couple of games ago was lifted with tightness in his back mid-game, was a late scratch in the lineup in the final game of the homestand, so he had an extra full day to let that back tightness fall away.
Yeah, the Reds have had a schedule so far where they have not had a long string of games in a row. This is the first time they've been tested like that. And there's some other teams, for instance, I think they played, was it the Cardinals, who had 17 games in a row heading up, looking at them. And the Reds have had their fair share of off days. So all of that is about to end here as you start getting into the daily grind of baseball. And you want your horses to be healthy.
This is the start of a season-long 10-game road trip. 17 straight days with a game, 30 games in 31 days. Loaded swing comes up empty. And there you go. And they're going to see 4 first-place teams. Cleveland now in sole possession of first place for the first time in nearly a month. The Giants, who are a surprise in the West, the Phillies, and the Cardinals. Trying to keep him honest there. Now, it did seem, Chris, that when Castellanos was pitched okay, and I say okay because his numbers are great. He's hitting tremendously. But teams have started to move off the plate down and away. Not in the strike zone, off the plate by a couple of inches. That's a hard pitch to execute, though, right?
Well, no, it's not a hard pitch to execute. Throwing the ball down the dirt away is easy. In fact, you can do that, but the fine margin of throwing it where it looks like a strike and ends up as a ball.
Yeah, I don't mean down in the dirt. I mean like that, like 2 to 3 inches off the plate.
You know, as I said before many times, John, you know, the 2 best pitches in baseball are the ones that start out as a ball and end up as a strike, and ones that start out as a strike and end up as a ball.
Right.
And for Castellanos, as aggressive as he is, once you get a couple of strikes on him, expanding the zone is what pitchers want to do. I mean, he just does not want to walk. So he wants to swing that bat, make contact, and he'll expand the zone a little bit. But you got to make it look close enough.
Ground ball. Jose Ramirez. 1-2-3 inning. Wade Miley at the ready, one of the fastest workers in baseball. All zeros. Brought to you by Rally House. Cesar Hernandez leads off. Jordan Luplow. Jose Ramirez, who has 9 home runs to lead the team. Top 5 in baseball. Franmil Reyes, extra base hit machine. Eddie Rosario, Harold Ramirez. Josh Naylor, Ahmed Rosario, who has speed if he gets aboard. And Austin Hedges at a slight $118. They take on Wade Miley. Strike 1.
Yeah, Miley, the perfect guy to pitch when you have an hour plus rain delay, because he'll get you back on schedule here as best as anybody. 5 stars, 3-2 record, good earned run average.
And those numbers from Western and Southern. I mean, look at this. The pace that he has. The conductor, Wade Miley.
Yeah, it's interesting, really, because hitters, they don't want to pause the game. Umpires don't like when hitters pause the game, step out of the box when they're not supposed to. So some guys feel an obligation to be in there when Miley wants to speed it up for him.
Farmer handles with a plum. So the Reds defense brought to you by your Ford dealers. In the outfield, welcome back, Shogo Akiyama. In left, Tyler Naquin, Nick Castellanos. And then here are the changes, Chris. What's your feel of this infield?
Well, Mike Moustakas is the obvious guy to go to first base right there. But I think the other guys are up for change. I mean, I'm interested to see that Suarez has been moved back to third base. Farmer tonight goes to the short and then Senzel at second. But, you know, things are going to change when you put Jonathan India in the ball game. Where's he going to play? I don't know. Are you going to shift Suarez back and forth from third to short? There are a lot of things, I think, that the Reds are going to work through just until they find a little combination. All you're trying to do is get your ball club to click a little bit.
And Tucker Barnhart does the catching. Moustakas the turn at first. Now, Moose spoke today about the move to first base, and he didn't anticipate a major issue, but he did say the unique challenge, because he has done it a handful of times before, is reading the spin, that it inverts on the other side of the field. How do you prepare for that? Do you read the ball during BP and just stand at first base? Or?
Well, I mean, he's had enough times out there that he knows what to look for, and that's one of the biggest things right there. I think footwork around the bag is another thing. It's people think that first base is an easy place to play just because you got a big mitt and everybody throws a ball to you on a fly, but that's not the case. Your footwork's important. Being in position on bunts is important. Holding runners on and getting in a defensive spot is a good and important thing. I mean, you can be exposed out there pretty easily, but he's a ball player. I mean, he's just a good all-around ball player, and I think he'll be fine.
Full count now on Jordan Luplow, who finds himself in an extended funk but hits a lot of homers. And that is picture perfect. Oh, what a frame job. And Miley slams the spot.
I mean, you got to ask yourself, you're sitting on your living room couch and you're saying, well, what is he looking for right here? I mean, is he looking out over the plate for a certain pitch? I mean, this was a fastball that clearly caught the strike zone.
And right at Jose Ramirez, and he starts him with a curveball there.
Well, this is a guy you do not want to have beat you, especially late in the ball game. If you've got a close ball game, always know where you are in the batting order, where he is in the on-deck circle. You just cannot allow Ramirez. He's the premier hitter on this ball club. You can't allow him to hurt you.
His numbers in what Baseball Reference defines as close and late are elite. Of his 9 homers, 6 have either tied the game or given Cleveland the lead.
Was that last 2 innings, 2 runs or less? Is that how they define that?
And look at Ramirez stepping out briefly, asking for time. Miley is speeding him up. And Miley has spoken about he feels the need to show a third pitch, to not just be cutter changeup. The pitch he's wanted to use is the curve. And he hadn't used it a ton on the year. He said in his pregame bullpen, he throws one and he knows if he has it or not. And he threw it twice to Ramirez in this AB.
The old saying of being stay stubborn with your stuff. Meaning just because it doesn't work in the first inning doesn't mean you can't come back and throw it in the second and the third and the fourth until you finally get it down.
Another payoff.
That's a good pitch.
That's a weak pop, reaching swing. This Miley guy knows what he's doing, huh?
So far, so good.
1, 2, 3 in the opening frame. 3 down at a perfect first. Here's tonight's Geico Real Savings Stat. These are the most home runs per game by ballpark this year. Now, TD Ballpark is the Florida home of the Toronto Blue Jays for this year. It's an A-ball facility. Progressive Field, 3.4, trailing only Great American Ballpark. And the wrinkle, this ballpark was not home run friendly at all last year. In fact, 3rd fewest big flies per game. And 3 home runs for Mike Moustakas on the young year. A generous strike 1. Touch tight. Plesac got the win against the White Sox on Sunday. 5 2/3 scoreless, 3 hits. Cleveland completed a 6-1 road trip to vault into the catbird seat in the division.
You watch Plesac's delivery, and it's a lot like many of these pitchers, Trevor Bauer, Lucas Sims, almost like a dart thrower. The way he takes the ball out of his glove, very short arm, gets that ball right behind his ear and cuts it loose. I mean, that is kind of the new style of pitching. If you show up in professional baseball nowadays with a long, arm swing and a big long arm arc like a lot of pitchers used to do, they're going to change you immediately. And they've got the data to show you why your stuff will make an improvement if you do that.
1-2. Now, So help me out here. When you go more shorter arm, one of the upticks, from what I understand, is you can improve velocity. It's one of the ways you can bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
But some pieces that I've read on that also say command can be a little off, and believes that some of the spike we've seen in batters getting hit or being thrown near is coming from, of sorts, one of the factors being that shorter arm movement. Is there any truth to that? Do you feel any weight to that? Lifted to shallow left, Eddie Rosario.
We'll go back to the first part of your statement. The reason you go short arm is that you can increase your velocity, right? So a pitcher wants to increase his velocity. What's he doing out there? He's trying to throw as hard as he can every time. And if you do anything in sports at maximum effort, you're going to lose command. And, I mean, name me a sport where you can throw a bowling ball as fast as you possibly can and you're going to throw a 300 game. Doesn't happen. And I think it's the same way with pitching. Pitchers are always trying to find that balance between maximum effort and maximum command. And it's usually not 100%.
Eugenio Suarez checks his swing. Appeal. He did not go.
But I think the uptick in velocity, I mean, it's proven without a doubt that, I mean, if you throw harder, it's harder to hit. But you also have to find that balance where I can throw harder, but I can throw it on the edges of the strike zone. Because I don't think that there's a pitcher out there, maybe with the exception of Aroldis Chapman, who can throw the ball by hitters time after time after time. And I've seen Chapman give up home runs.
Right.
So eventually these hitters are going to catch up with it.
Up and in. Now, the Reds do have a name waiting in the wings. Hunter Green was over 100 over 30 times in his first outing with Double-A. Nick Lodolo actually had better final numbers in terms of strikeouts and base runners allowed. Oh, and that takes off the mask. Home plate umpire Lance Barksdale. Umpires have been getting a little banged up in Reds games this year. Heck, we saw Tyler Stevenson catch a ball with his chin, basically, the tail end of last homestand. Lifted on the infield. Plesac trying to take command. Ramirez says, no, sir.
Well, John, you were talking about Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green, Double-A, Chattanooga lookouts, and definitely look out for them. Lodolo Thursday, 5 innings pitched, just 2 hits, no earned runs, didn't walk a batter, struck out 10. And Hunter Green, as you said, he was topped out at 102 through 71 pitches, 51 of which were strikes. And Jose Garcia, we saw him with the big club last year. Home run in back-to-back games to start the season. So the Reds as an organization really have had a terrific start to the minor league season.
I love that. That Double-A team is going to be one to watch. At both low A and high A, a lot of power in the lineup. There's strike one.
If I was in Daytona, I would be getting some tickets because they got some guys that could swing the bat down there at the low A level.
Yeah, that is one of the wrinkles this year. Dayton and Daytona have inverted levels. Dayton is now high A. Daytona is now low A. That's a ground ball that has eyes and gets on through. Tyler Naquin came up in the Cleveland organization. 2-out single.
Well, he came over to the Reds mid-spring training. He was cut loose by the Indians, so anything that you can do against your former club is going to make you feel happy.
Delino DeShields offers some words for Naquin. Gets the greeting from Naylor, and now Tucker Barnhart. And Chris, when you've been on the stage for pre and post, you've taken a dive into the production that the catching spot has given the Reds. Both Barnhart and Stevenson have been dynamite.
I mean, right now, that platoon is one made in heaven. I mean, the lefty-righty spot of Barnhart, Stevenson. Stevenson seemingly gets a couple of hits every time he takes the field.
Fairly well hit ground ball and out. 2-out single, and that's all offensively. The MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to Great American Ballpark. Buy and manage game tickets, redeem offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Reds have won 5 of 8. They're within a game of 500. Wade Miley, sensational in the first, 3 up, 3 down, working very quickly. Now faces Franmil Reyes. That's a big man standing up there at the plate.
Yeah, he can be imposing, but for a lot of pitchers, you look at Reyes and you say, yeah, you know what he can do home run-wise, the exit speed, off his bat, how strong he is, but look at that big strike zone. I mean, that's a lot to cover. And like a lot of hitters, he wants the ball hanging somewhere, so you concentrate a little bit more on that.
Took something off away. Reyes 6'5", 265. Well over half his hits are extra base hits. And you see there at the bottom of the screen his OPS at home. He crushes in this ballpark. Very late ask of time, just as Miley went into his wind. Reyes trying to get ready. We don't even have time to show the replay. I mean, that's how quickly Wade Miley is working.
Kind of interesting, really. Reyes came to the Indians in part of the deal that sent Trevor Bauer to the Reds.
Yep. And that is on the inner edge, strike 3, 2 Ks for Miley, both looking.
I mean, Miley used the entire strike zone that bat. I mean, he had him fishing for low and outside changeup. Here he puts a little fastball right on the inside corner. And there's just enough comeback action right there to freeze the hitter. Now, there's a great example right here. If you took Wade Miley and you said, all right, Wade, we can add 3 or 4 miles to your fastball by shortening your arm, do your overload, underload system, get your spin rate on your fastball up there a little bit, and you get Miley from 90 to 93. The question would be, would his results be any better than they are with him pitching at 88 to 90? And I think every pitcher, falls into a certain slot. Every hitter falls into a certain type of hitting slot. And you just have to find your comfort level and then get really good at that.
That was in. And he turned on it. Castellanos 2 down. So Eddie Rosario flies out. Miley was asked in his session with the media before this start what his goals were and how he could achieve them. And he said he wanted to give more innings. How do you do that? He said, I need to be more efficient. I need to throw fewer pitches per inning. Here he is, ready for his 29th pitch with 2 out in the second. And that's in the dirt to Harold Ramirez.
You might say that Miley is fast between pitches, but slow with pitches.
Might have broken his bat there. Nice play by Farmer. Takes Moustakas off the bag, and he makes the tag. Fresh to first base, and a clean receipt by the Moose. Home game at Great American Ballpark. If a Reds player hits a home run that hits the Toyota Hit and Win sign, one lucky fan will win a new Toyota Tundra. Visit your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers today and register to win. Wade Miley, perfect through 2. Reds need to win 2 of 3 here in Cleveland in order to claim the Ohio Cup. Nice play by Kyle Farmer. Sent us to break. And he takes a strike from Zach Plesac. Now, when David Bell was asked about Mike Moustakas at first base and the rest of the shuffle, whether this would be the rigid defense, he said no. This is going to be a day-to-day thing. It'll depend upon the matchups. And now you've got both Tyler Naquin and Shogo Akiyama batting left side. Plus, this is the outlier in an American League Park with the DH.
Well, if you follow David Bell's lineups anyway, I mean, you know that there is no set lineup for him. I mean, he's always playing matchups. You're always trying to get an advantage where you think that, putting a guy in a certain slot may help your team score a little bit. And this gives him more incentive to do that. I am happy, though, that Farmer's getting a chance to play.
Just misses. Plesac thought he had him.
Plesac has been dotting the I's here in the early going, especially the 3 pitches that he has thrown here to Farmer. I mean, right on the edge. Well, control is his forte. That's his number one best pitch, his command.
And that one scoots up the middle, bounds into center, and Farmer's aboard. So both of the Reds' knocks have found holes in the Cleveland defense.
Plesac likes to get ground balls. I mean, he gets about 50% of them this year, and it's been good for him. But, you can't be everywhere. That used to be a base hit every time. Now, half the time, there's a guy standing there behind second base.
Right. And now with Shogo Akiyama up, Jose Ramirez crashes in. He plays on the grass at third. Akiyama went 1 for 11 during his short rehab at AAA. Flicked to first, and Farmer plunges back safely. And you saw a different Akiyama from the first half of the shortened season into the second half of last year.
Everything was tough last year, especially you come over your first year in the big leagues and they have a pandemic. And no one knows what's going on every day when you get to the ballpark. But I thought the speed of the game caught him by surprise last year. It looked like to me anyway. But he adapted. I mean, he worked very hard at it. And I think by the end of the season, especially in September, he was one of the Reds' best players. He was getting on base a lot. And he had caught up with things. And I don't think that learning curve this year will be anywhere near as steep.
Ground ball. Naylor lost by Ahmed Rosario at second base.
Well, they're probably happy wearing masks right now after seeing their Indians make that kind of play. It looked like a possible double play the hard way, 3-6-3, and Naylor throws it right there. Maybe he was shielded by the runner. I don't know, but Rosario should have had that ball. He was already thinking about throwing it to second base before he had it in his glove. Well, that's just the kind of play that, you shouldn't see that at the big league level. That's what Terry Francona is saying right now.
Rosario had a lot of troubles defensively in his early go with the Mets. And they had considered putting him in the outfield, not only because of those woes, but they had 2 very talented shortstops coming up. 2 aboard here, Nick Senzel, strike 1. Oh, it is called an error on Rosario. Senzel on 1 pitch, grounded out to short, his first time up. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for the Reds because you have a pitcher who's not a high strikeout pitcher. You got a couple of runners on base. He feels like, how did I get in this jam? I gave up 2 ground balls, and now I've got first and second, nobody out. This is where, if you can, you put your foot on the throttle. And for Senzel, that means taking his breaking ball the other way.
Runner's a big lead, and that's way outside. That is, by the way, the first error of the year for Ahmed Rosario. Farmer had a wide berth. They play Ahmed Rosario deep in the hold is short. They're shading Senzel slightly to pull. Bit of a reaching swing, poke, backhand pick. Hernandez stomps on the bag. Throw not in time. Well, Farmer gets over to third. Men at the corners, one out.
Yeah, speed is a wonderful thing, and it's the one thing that really doesn't slump. Even when you hit a ball softly like this, they're trying to go for two, but Senzel basically outruns the play.
Stepping to the plate now for Cincinnati, designated hitter Jesse Winker.
And if the Reds were to choose any one hitter to come up in this spot, I think they got the guy at the plate right now. Jesse Winker is not only their best bat by average, their best hitter on the road. He's also been the most productive in these situations. Men on base and men in scoring position. He has been great. Off-speed strike. Winker saw a couple of fastballs early, actually 3 in a row, to begin his AB. Eventually worked it full and struck out on that fastball that had that run away. A 1. Man, that's a tough pitch. And there you go, highest in the National League with men in scoring position. 455 in 22 ABs. And Plesac has toiled in that spot. He's got the 5th worst opponent's average with men in scoring position. Oh, 2. That is skied foul, twisting to the stands. Winker won it for the Reds. Extra innings, 1-0 a couple of days ago. He has thrived pressure spots. And you can see the glove of Hedges. He was tapping it against the dirt there, just saying, bury that thing. Down, 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 down.
Yeah, I really like that. I don't know if every pitcher does or not, but, I mean, he's on the same page right now as Zach Plesac, and he's trying to convince him, will him, to throw the ball where he wants to. If you're going to miss in the dirt right here, I'll block it. Don't miss out over the center of the plate, not to this guy. They're going to keep and try to continue expand the zone on Winker, and he's a guy that's tough to do on. So you go downstairs and you miss in the dirt. You go upstairs and you miss up around the eyes.
Nick Castellanos, the on-deck man. While Cleveland thinks double play, Senzel's one of the faster Reds at first. They do roll the middle infielders. They're trying to shade Winker to pull.
Plesac's got one of the best pickoff moves of any right-hander in baseball. I think he's got the most pickoffs over the last few years since he's been in the league now for, this is his 3rd season of any right-hander. So if you're thinking about the running game, that is a major component. How good that pitcher is, and Plesac is one of the best.
Down and away target. 2-2. And it's another full count for Winker.
How about that? He goes 0-2. Gets a breaking ball in the dirt, misses low. Gets a fastball just above the strike zone high. Gets a changeup down and away. So Plesac's throwing the kitchen sink at him right here, and now he's finally evened up the count, has Jesse Winker.
He did get him to swing through that upper reaches of the zone fastball. There's that pickoff look. David Bell's team went from the highest of offensive highs to nearly the lowest of lows. 13-12 win on Sunday, and then shut out by the White Sox. The only win in the two-game series came 1-0 in extras. Things tend to level out. Runner goes. Payoff is fouled. Senzel got a great break. It was nearly at the bag as that ball dribbled out of the circle.
Well, a couple things happen when you put your runner in motion on a 3-2 count. If it's ball 4, he's automatically walking into second base. You're hoping that Winker doesn't strike out, but you're also taking advantage of a 3-2 count where the pitcher now is really concentrating on the hitter. He's not really as worried about the runner now because the damage that Winker can do. Yeah, he may get a throw over here, but when it's time to throw to the plate, he's all in on getting Winker out.
3-2. He goes again. Hard ground ball. Flip to second. Disrupted. And still the relay is there in time. That was a solid slide by Senzel and Ahmed Rosario, who made an error in the inning. Able to keep his feet. And his throw beats Winker for the giddy-up. Cincinnati Reds baseball on Bally Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Reds had a strong scoring chance, thwarted. Ground ball double play. Now Wade Miley waits for no man. That is strike one on Josh Naylor.
And no sponsor.
That's right. Maybe we could find like a watch company or something that could sponsor how quickly Wade Miley works.
It would have to be a stopwatch.
And watch Naylor trying to do all he can to slow the tempo a little bit. And Naylor has been a doubles machine. Has not hit lefties all that well, though. Has pretty wide splits among the bigger ones into baseball. 300 against righties. Just a $194 left on left. You see the run that Naylor's been on in his last 9 games, bottom of the screen. As Cleveland has won 9 of 11, 5 straight, just swept the Royals to leapfrog into first place. Can the hitter feel what a catcher's doing back there? When Barnhart, you know, we saw it on the caught stealing the tail end of the White Sox game, elevates from his crouch with that tall target.
You know, that's probably a better question to ask Barry when you have him in the booth. I would think that they get a feeling that something is going on, but you're not sure if it was a decoy, you know, or whether they're patting the glove in one part of the zone and then they move to another part. I've always thought, though, it's a little distracting for a catcher to move too late. Mm-hmm. It's also distracting for the umpire, by the way. I've had that conversation with many of them, that they would rather things be nice and calm back behind home plate.
You know, last year with no fans in the stands, it was so quiet in the stadium sometimes the hitters would know where the catcher's initially set up, but then it would hear the catcher move. It doesn't happen this year with fans in the stands, but there was one of those things last year where hitters could actually hear the catcher move.
I can only imagine some of the nuance that came with not only the strategic impact, but the hilarity that we were probably not privy to. The dugouts could hear so much chatter, and if there are any impacts, you know, that you bring up an interesting point. Should probably bring up with David and maybe some of the players. Did anything transpire as a result of becoming the norm in those, you know, fanless incredibly quiet church mouse kind of ballparks that spilled into this year? Did they find any more efficient ways of communicating things in some way?
I know there was a lot of talk about hearing conversations from the opposing dugout that you wouldn't normally hear.
Would that have anything to do with like banging on trash cans? Since I think the Astros were in New York recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was definitely chatter in that series. All is one from the crowd in different segments.
You know, Naylor's an interesting young man. He's only 23 years old. He's already had a few years in the major leagues. He originally was drafted by Miami out of Ontario, Canada in the first round, 12th pick overall in 2015. Then the next year he was traded in that Luis Castillo deal that went from Miami to the San Diego Padres. A few years later, he was traded by the Padres to the Indians.
He went. No need for appeal. There's the breaking ball from Miley in his third strikeout. He's retired the first 7.
This looks like the curveball you mentioned early, John, that Miley's wanted to add that extra pitch to his pitch repertoire, just to, because it gives you a different speed, it gives you different curvature of the ball, different shape. And he's staying stubborn with it. He's thrown a few of those tonight, and that was a good one. Got a strikeout.
There it is again, Ahmed Rosario. Yeah, you mentioned that trade, by the way. And you might be wondering, well, wait a minute. Castillo was traded from the Marlins to the Padres, but didn't he come from the Marlins to the Reds? Yes. Colin Ray was also in that trade and got hurt in his first start. So Castillo was returned.
Right. He was damaged goods, and so they undid that part of the trade. And the Marlins are so anxious to trade Castillo that they ended up trading him to the Reds for Dan Straley.
Swing and a miss. A change in the dirt, and Miley is cooking with gas. 4 strikeouts.
You may want to reword that a little bit. I don't know. Maybe cooking with changeups, maybe? But, I mean, look at that. 73, 81, and 80 on the outer part of the plate. I mean, hitters see what they see. They don't hit the radar gun. And I think that's still a very underappreciated part of hitting and pitching. How else do you explain a guy like Miley getting a major league hitter out barely over 80 miles an hour? I mean, that's junior high school speed.
You don't need full flame to cook all meals. There's strike 1 to Austin Hedges, who's got a lot of pressure on him with Roberto Perez on the injured list. Surgery today, had 3 pins inserted into that ring finger that he broke when he was crossed up for the second time this year. He had injured that ring finger right before the first series with the Reds. Didn't go on the IL, but had been banged up during the course of that week.
Yeah, he and Rene Rivera. We've been saying that name for a long time. Veteran catcher will share the duties.
Hedges, a second rounder by the Padres in 2011. They got him in the Mike Clevenger trade. He had good caught stealing numbers a year ago and limited action with the Padres. San Diego had so many highly touted prospects, and they were willing and able to deal a selected number of them to augment their team. And boy, has that paid off. Right back to Miley. He could pick it, too. No base runners for Wade Miley through 3. Scoreless game. Today, treat the mom in your life with the gift of a Reds Rookies Baby Club membership. The membership guarantees mom an easy out with her infants and toddlers while making lifelong memories enjoying the fun of Reds baseball. Visit Reds.com/rookies and enter to win a free Reds Rookies membership. 3, 4, and 5 due up. Nick Castellanos, 9 home runs on the year, top 5 in baseball. Taking on Zach Plesac. Part of Plesac's problem when he's been challenged
both on his career and a couple of outings against the Reds, and on this young year, home runs. Swing and a miss.
Well, you know, Plesac is the kind of pitcher that he's got exceptional command, doesn't walk a lot of batters. So if you give up a home run and it's a solo shot, most of the time it doesn't hurt you. What hurts you is you walk 2 batters and then give up the long ball.
And that one is poked. Deep left center, hits the base of the wall. Castellanos claims 2, a stand-up double for the Reds right fielder.
Well, you know all is right with the world when he starts hitting doubles.
There is a certain sound to his contact this year.
He has a lot of body movement, and you can see for a guy that is very aggressive like that, he's gonna look bad on some pitches, but he's going to hammer some other ones if he gets that timing perfect.
Plesac pitched Moustakas in a lot first time up. Goes away. It's pulled to first. Nice pick. Naylor feeds Plesac, but that'll do the job. It gets Castellanos to third base with 1 out.
Down to the plate for the Reds, number 7, Eugenio Suarez.
So here's a chance with the infield coming halfway in for Eugenio Suarez. He popped to third first time up. Now remember that Naylor on his career hadn't had a ton of experience at first base. And he made the error when the Reds won in extras. There's ball 1 to Suarez.
Yeah, that was a play that looked like Billy Buckner down there. And you really, you know, it helped the Reds, but you feel bad for any player that makes that kind of play that eventually basically loses the ball game for your team. You know, pitchers are put in that spot. They feel, you know, more often than position players where, you know, reliever comes in, gives up a 3-run home run, you lose the game, and you feel like the whole game was your fault. Doesn't happen all that often the way Naylor did in Cincinnati when the Reds came back and miraculously beat the Indians in that game.
And that was with their phenomenal endgame option, Emmanuel Clase, who throws 100. Now, Terry Francona has shied away from a pure closer designation. He's going to use his best arms in the biggest spots, which may be in the 9th, maybe in the 7th.
All right, he's got 2 really good ones down there.
2-1. Check swing. Appeal. He went.
Those are good buddy Ted Barrett. You know, when I see a hitter doing that on a 2-1 count, you're kind of in control of the count right there. You should be shrinking the zone. You know, it just tells me he's still not seeing the ball well. Not picking up the breaking pitch, maybe not picking up the spin. And maybe shorten up right here, put that ball in play. Get a run in.
2-2. Fouled hard. Now Suarez is back at third base in this game. And David Abelda confessed that he thinks, you know, trying to apprentice once more at short, his original position, but that was years ago. Probably did have some effect on his plate appearances. Wonder if a calming effect could come playing at third base today. Castellanos off third. Infield halfway in. Way high.
Yeah, you know, Plesac didn't want to throw that pitch. You may have noticed that Austin Hedges back there put fastball up, and Plesac shook him off. And he kind of made a fist, Hedges did, and said, come on, you're going to throw this pitch. And Normally when a veteran catcher does that, you go ahead and follow him. But he didn't really feel like he believed in that pitch. That's why he missed so high.
Down and away. 3-2. Clips the upper third, strike 3.
Now, this is one of those pitches that starts off looking like a ball and ends up being a strike at the very end. It's a pitcher's pitch. There's the one down and in, and that was probably the best hit the best pitch in the AB to put the wood on right there. And Suarez couldn't pull the trigger. And finally, that high slider that gets just the top of the zone right there. Boy, Hedges is quiet behind the plate. I mean, he really gives the umpire a good look.
And now Tyler Naquin. Drafted by Cleveland in 2012. Had been with Cleveland through until this last spring training. Strike 1. Our Home Depot getting more done breakdown. Tyler Naquin showing here at his former home. 169 games at .285 in this ballpark. 15 home runs, 26 doubles, and 60 knocked in. And they play him not quite straight up, but not a shift. 2 infielders on each side. Naylor guards the line. And now with a couple of strikes, Ramirez breaks a touch more away from third. And we have seen with bigger shifts against left-handed hitters. We saw Tony Walters try to steal home against the Reds. At first he did. Replay said he was out. So Mookie Betts take a lead halfway home against the Dodgers. Castellanos feigns an attempt. 1-2. And of course, matchups matter a lot. Who's the hitter? Who's the pitcher? Who's the runner? But as more teams employ
more dramatic shifts with a man at third base, I kind of think we're going to see more runners take the gamble, right?
I would think that there are more people in the front office analyzing where a team could give up an advantage. Maybe some teams more than others.
Advantage Plesac on the high heat. Back-to-back Ks. It began with a double. Castellanos stranded.
When the world's best golfers compete at the Memorial Tournament presented by Nationwide. On the course or tuned in, you've got a spot at the rope line. Visit thememorialtournament.com. Into Memorial, the first pitch for Wade Miley.
Gonna have to shorten those promo reads with Miley on the mound.
Have to go full Micro Machines, man.
Yep.
It's not the real thing. Cesar Hernandez has grounded out to short. Works a lot of walks. Top 10 of the American League in walks, trying to table set for a Cleveland club that doesn't hit the ball very well. Third worst team average in baseball. Weak ground ball.
Pickett moves. Mike Moustakas picking up right where Joey Votto leaves off, and Votto is very good at the scoop, and he gets right down there. Moustakas does, and able to corral that bouncer.
Also curious to see when and how Nick Senzel gets challenged at second base. He's only had a handful of games there so far. Jordan Luplow, backdoor strike 1. You know, he had come up, of course, originally as an infielder, moved to the outfield, has filled in some of the infield again of late. Because we saw Jonathan India play perhaps his best defensive game at second at the end of the homestand. He was challenged on 3 or 4 not incredibly difficult plays, but not clean or average, ordinary plays. Wade Miley is far from average tonight. Swing and a miss. It's 5 strikeouts for Wade Miley, who is not allowed a base runner.
Now, once you establish yourself as being able to throw strikes, hitters are going to start chasing pitches on you, and you're going to be able to pitch to the scouting report, make them chase pitches they wouldn't normally do. And I also think the pace of his pitching also gets the hitters out of sorts a little bit.
Jose Ramirez has popped to third. Remember, first time up, he started 2 looping curveballs against Ramirez and then sped him up with stuff elevated. Now he works down off speed. Lost by Suarez. The throw. Still in time. Hey, Eugenio Suarez recovers. And Wade Miley still perfect.
We are through 4 in Cleveland, scoreless. Are back again this season and on sale now. Up first to bat is the Zoo Ticket Package featuring a Theo the Giraffe bobblehead presented by the Ohio Lottery. Plus, a portion of the proceeds will be donated back to the Cincinnati Zoo. Guarantee this collectible bobble today at Reds.com/themes. The Ohio Cup on the line as the Reds collide with Cleveland. Tucker Barnhart takes strike 1. He grounded out on 1 pitch first time up. Now the Reds have to take 2 out of 3 from Cleveland because if you tie, the previous winner retains the cup. And Cleveland had won the cup not only last year, Reds haven't won it in 7 years. So if they were to fall into a 3,
they would split the season series at 3-3. And Cleveland would retain the trophy.
Here's the shift used against Barnhart,
who's on pace for a career year. Every major category for Barnhart is average, on base, his slugging. Would set new career high marks, and the comfort level of going exclusively left side feels like it's truly settled in this year. He did a lot of work on his swing in the offseason back home in greater Indianapolis. That's a great pitch by Plesac.
Well, that's 3 strikeouts in a row for Zach Plesac. And, you know, we've talked about how the Indians have built this particular team on pitching. Of course, when you let Francisco Lindor go, you're kind of maybe ending a really great era for the Indians. But they hit the gold mine there in 2016 with their amateur draft. They picked up Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac, and tomorrow's starter Aaron Savali in that draft. And none of them were, you know, 1st or 2nd round picks. Savali was a 3rd round pick. Plesac was a 12th round pick. And Shane Bieber, who's maybe one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, was in the 4th round. And you add them all together, out of that 2016 draft, they have picked up 17.4 wins above replacement career-wise with those 3 pitchers. That's quite a dandy trio to grab, you know, kind of later in the draft. I think the highest draft pick of any of them was around 95th taken in the entire amateur draft that year. So somehow the Indians seem to be able to do it over and over again. Get pitchers, either trade for them that haven't yet hit their prime, they come to Cleveland and they hit their prime, or they develop them out of their system.
And they've been doing that even as their front office has shuffled and changed. That's gone over multiple regimes going back a couple of decades plus now. And normally that's led to positions of strength similar to what we were talking about earlier with the Padres, where when they have the right build in place, they can trade off pieces.
But I wonder,
not only with the perhaps larger sensitivity for all teams in the game outside of, you know, the Dodgers and Yankees are kind of outliers in how you spend money, will we see the trading of prospects at nearly the same rate, or will we see a change to the value you get for them? And when will you know what value is there, considering the entire minor league season a year ago was lost? Low bound, Ramirez. Oh, doing the splits, Josh Naylor.
I'll tell you, for a guy that hasn't played that much first base, he looks very comfortable down there. And we've seen him make a really nice stretch a couple of times. And he gets right out there to make sure you get your man on that 5-3 putout.
Now, Naylor as an amateur had time at first. But when he made that error that allowed the Reds to tie the game, force extras, and win it, that was at the time his 6th career game at first base. He was at first base largely to get Franmil Reyes in the game. I remember playing at the Reds, no DH, and Reyes is a nearly positionless man at his size, so they put him in right and brought Naylor in. Akiyama has reached on error.
Kind of a reverse defensive shift for the Indians. They play him to pull on the ground and to slice the ball opposite field in the outfield. Oh, that's a good old Lord Charles right there.
It seems like that is sharpened second time through. I mean, he threw a great one to Barnhart. As you pointed out, the strikeouts have ramped up. This Cleveland team is a bit of an outlier in its schedule. Entering tonight, 23 of Cleveland's 30 games had been played against divisional teams. That's incredibly substantial. By contrast, the Reds have only played 12 divisional games.
Akiyama making them work. There you go. They're 15-8 against the American League Central, 2-5 against the rest of baseball, including 1-2 against the Reds.
Well, I think everybody who sized up the American Central thought it would be the White Sox or the Twins, and then everybody else. And surprise, surprise.
The Twins have been very much outside looking in. That might be perhaps the biggest stunner of all. Is, I mean, the Twins are not terrible, but the musical chairs game in first place in the Central is shifted between Cleveland, Kansas City, who few folks saw. They've been
Great in one-run games, and the White Sox, who were very banged up. That's a good AB by Akiyama. Got hurt March 13th. Pretty tough hamstring pull. I mean, here he is playing for the first time since then. And he seems to be seeing him pretty well. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Got just 11 ABs and
true game action
on his very short rehab. Grounded, Ramirez, one-footed throw. 1, 2, 3, go the Reds for the first time since the first inning.
Well, you got to mix it up a little bit when you're going to face a team often, and Wade Miley's done that exactly. See what he's done the first time against the Indians. Cutters and change-ups in the first start, 80 of them. Tonight only 39, and fastballs and curveballs. They were very scarce in that first game, and he's kind of loading up on the heater a little bit more tonight.
Facing Franmil Reyes. It's been 12 up, 12 down for Miley. Farmer to his feet, slower runner, Makes the play, 13 up, 13 down. And only one Cleveland hitter has left the infield against Miley.
I mean, he's been all over the edges of the strike zone. You see guys like that getting out of the way of a pitch and then chasing pitches off the plate. I mean, the key to pitching is basically helping the hitter get himself out. And Miley's doing a great job at that tonight.
There are the numbers tonight. There's strike one to Eddie Rosario.
I like that sound. There's strike one.
This Rosario's the only Cleveland hitter to leave the infield. He flied to right first time. Now, it hasn't been the cleanest. There have been a couple of smothers and bobbles. You saw Farmer get that nice stop. Suarez nearly lost the ball that he was able to settle, set his feet, complete the throw. Miley has been very special.
Well, outs are outs, and you know that's the way you look at them. Bottom line, Rosario's a guy, you know, who you would think would not be all that easy of an out for Miley because he's a really good bad ball hitter, very aggressive, chases all sorts of stuff. But he's got a remarkable talent for putting pitches that shouldn't be hit into play.
He has said that his talent to be a bad ball hitter is God-given, but he's also confessed as he's aged that it's not as easy anymore. He's trying to hone in on better pitches to hit. That's a great pitcher's pitch.
And now a quick word from La Rosa's.
Strikeouts for slices from La Rosa's is back. When the Reds tally 11 strikeouts, text Reds, and you could win a free small one-topping pizza from La Rosa's.
Wade Miley, Harold Ramirez. Breaking ball to third, Suarez. 5 perfect innings. Wade Miley has been sensational.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Reds.
Welcome on back to Cleveland. Wade Miley, the story so far, perfect through 5. The Reds offense has been slight 3 games running, blanked by the White Sox a couple of games ago. Got the game's only run to win in extras last outing. And scoreless tonight. Zach Plesac has retired 6 straight. Nick Senzel has grounded out and reached on fielder's choice. One down. And now a message from Home Depot.
Home Depot Pro Extra program that saves you time and gets you rewarded. Keeping score has never been easier.
So here's Jesse Winker, who's 0 for 2, but Chris, 2 great ABs.
Well, one turned out to be a strikeout and the other was a double play. And so on the surface, you would say, well, what do you mean good ABs? I mean, the guy's made 3 outs and 2 at-bats. But you're right. I mean, he's worked the pitcher. He's seen everything that Plesac has had. That's why it's tough to be a 300 hitter in baseball.
And that ground ball double play, by the way, the first hit into by Winker all year. I mean, he has been a line drive kind of man.
And it was really a play that was made by Nick Senzel at second base with a little pop-up slide that looked like he was able to break up that double play, and the Indians were still able to get the back end of it at first base. It's an excellent slide by Nick Senzel.
High fly to playable right. Luplow waits. It's 8 in a row retired by Zach Plesac.
Well, this bat comes out of Winker's hand right here. First I thought it may have broken the bat by hitting the ball right in the very end of it, but he went right down there, I mean really way down there, and talk about having a loose grip on the bat. I wish I could hold a golf club that loose.
4. And Nick Castellanos stung a double to begin the 4th, the last Red to reach.
Isn't it funny how games take on certain energy? You know, the 12 to 11 or 13 to 12 game against the Cubs with all the home runs, 10 home runs, was obviously an offensive energy game. This one has taken on pitching and defense. And it seems like one pitcher starts getting into it, like Miley, and next thing you know, Plesac pitches out of a little bit of a jam. You know, he had runner on in the first, had a couple of runners on, runner on in the second, couple on in the third. And next thing you know, both pitchers are settling down, and they're just kind of weaving their magic on these hitters right now.
Now, Plesac at 85 pitches. Castellanos double, the only extra base hit, a couple of singles up the middle otherwise. And that one is sent to medium center. Ramirez makes the grab. 9 straight Reds retired, but no Cleveland man is reached against Wade Miley.
From the T-Mobile coverage cam. Temperatures in the 40s. Started the game late, a rain delay. But Wade Miley has been picture perfect. 1 down. Josh Naylor grounds out. Nobody has reached against Miley, who was the first Reds pitcher perfect through 5 since Homer Bailey, July the 2nd, 2013, against the Giants. Bailey would throw a no-hitter that game, the only base runner, a leadoff walk to Gregor Blanco in the 7th. Ahmed Rosario, strike 1.
Yeah, a lot of first pitch strikes on that curveball, and I think that's one reason why Wade Miley wants to really work that into his pitching arsenal.
Backhand lost. Senzel from his knees bounces away from Moustakas. That's going to give him second as it got down into the camera well or the dugout area.
Now the ball hit right back up the middle. The Reds weren't playing him exactly up the middle. I think Senzel had to move a few paces to his right and backhands it, stops it, throws it in time, and just a little bit wild. The question is, in a perfect game, I mean, how does the scorer take a look at this play? And should he be swayed one way or another by the circumstances of the ball game that Wade Miley has not given up a hit nor a base runner?
He's not supposed to be. But he is human.
Indeed. We think.
That hasn't gone robot yet, right? That's coming too. And it sounds like it will be an error on Senzel for the throw.
Yeah, and the thinking there is that he made the play, had he been able to throw the ball, catchable, then they would have beaten the runner.
One of the wrinkles about that Homer Bailey no-no in that game, in that 7th inning, Blanco spoiled the perfecto by walking to begin the 7th. There was a ground ball later in the inning to Votto at first. He was off the bag. Nobody was there. Grounded back to Miley. Looks back. Rosario. Nice job. 2 down. And Votto, recognizing the no-no, went to third base. A fielder's choice to retire Blanco and keep the no-hitter going. That wound up ending the inning. He had no chance to get the batter runner. Now Cesar Hernandez, who was grounded out twice. Now, Ahmed Rosario can really fly. He's got great speed. He's not necessarily a stellar base stealer, but a well above average runner.
I got to think that's part of the calculus, and Wade Miley giving him a gander here, having looked him back before. Oddly enough, Cleveland's best base stealer is the unrelated Eddie Rosario, who's not nearly as fast as Ahmed, but does have 5 swipes on the year. And Miley's getting just off the plate, particularly now, third time through. We saw at the tail end of the second time through, called for a strike.
That Tommy Glavine strike zone.
Yeah, expanded a little bit. You can widen it by, half a baseball, the width of a baseball. Bounced. Foul. Count runs full on Hernandez.
Good try by Barnhart right there to sell that ball into being a fair ball. And remember, in baseball, it's not where the fielder is. I mean, the fielder could have his feet in fair territory like Barnhart does right there. It's where the ball is, not where the fielder is. On a ground ball. On a fly ball, of course, it's where the ball crosses the bag, where it lands, and so on.
Outside, ball 4. That's the first clean base runner. Miley's first walk. No still in progress, but scoreless game. It's now 2 on, 2 out. And an all or nothing hitter in Jordan Luplow.
Yeah, Luplow, of all the hitters the Indians have run up there tonight, has looked the most uncomfortable in the batter's box. He's chased the wildest pitches, and he's not really full of confidence right now.
He's in a 4 for 38 funk. But he's only got 12 hits on the year. Half of those hits, 6 of the 12, are home runs. And this has been a very home run friendly ballpark this year. We showed the graphic earlier. It's truly second most home run friendly in the majors this year to the Reds' Great American Ballpark. Now, in between is the Blue Jays' temporary sanctuary in Florida, but that's an A-ball stadium that they're playing in for now.
Windy, always blowing out there in Dunedin.
A nice pitch from Miley and an off-balance swing from Luplow. 2 on, 2 out. The perfecto gone, the no-hitter on. Mike Saraball quite out of the coaching box at third, trying to eyeball the Reds outfielders. 2-2. There is the aforementioned Mr. Saraball, who mentored many of Cleveland's younger players, multiple stints across all levels in the minors. You mentioned it earlier, partner. It looks and kind of feels like a September or maybe October game. Two. Right at Shogo Akiyama. Now Wade Miley strands a pair. He has a no-no through 6. Daughter interested in baseball or softball? Check out the Reds baseball and softball camps presented by United Healthcare. Your child will receive a week of expert instruction, a full Reds uniform, VIP day at the ballpark, Reds tickets, and more. Visit Reds.com/camps to find a location near you. Wade Miley, no hitter through 6. Pitch count stands at 84. Zach Plesac at 86. Ball 1 to Mike Moustakas, who's 0 for 2. Feel like Moose is due. He's now 3 for his last 28 since coming off the injured list. Fills in at first base tonight. Fastball away.
First fastball in the zone he's had all night long.
Yeah, that first time up, it was in. The second AB was one pitch.
Yeah, changeup.
That's a tough location up and in there on the lefty.
Now, Moustakas has shown a willingness to go where pitches are thrown, and they do shift him here significantly. One, two, way high. That's happened to Plesac a few times tonight. You could see his frustration there as that ball sailed.
Yeah, I think, however, if you're a pitcher and you have a choice of where you're going to miss, you'd rather miss up and out over the out of the zone in a 0-0 game than right down the middle. Sometimes where you miss is more important than where you pitch it.
And while the Reds, David Bell's team is 3 hits off Plesac, no walks, 4 strikeouts. That was certainly part of his formula last season. He had far better numbers than he has this year. This year it's been a more jagged showing for Plesac entering tonight. 2-2. Cracked foul. And last year it was 57 strikeouts against 6 walks in 55 1/3 innings. That is sensational.
Yet a lot of people will look at Zach Plesac and say, well, he doesn't strike out enough hitters for me. I mean, almost the gold standard nowadays is, do you strike out 1 per inning? And sometimes walks are forgotten about because if you've got good enough stuff, you can walk them and then strike out the side.
Oh, sharp. What do you do with that?
You know what you do is look at it and drag your bat on back and say, glad he's not pitching tomorrow. I mean, fastball, 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 hook.
You can see the lips moving and the facial reaction of Moustakas. That's a great pitch. Now, Plesac has retired 10 in a row. And Eugenio Suarez has popped out and struck out. And when Plesac saw the Reds last year, he was burned by the 2 homers, Castellanos and Votto. He also was outdueled by Sonny Gray, who was very good that day. Just 1 earning in 6 innings. Hard ground ball, foul. Ramirez gave a gander at third. And now, brief word from Rally House. And we'll get to that in a moment. Shift is on. Way outside. You can see and feel that frustration there for Plesac. Spinning. He's been so good tonight, his rare misses.
Yeah, but as you get deeper into one of these games, John, you know, it becomes a little bit more intense every inning. You know you're in a 0-0 game. You know the other guy is throwing up zeros.
Low throw handled.
And you're more intent than ever not to make a mistake in the zone.
Now word from Rally House.
Gear up for the ballpark, Cincy. From the most popular Nike jerseys to the latest throwback styles, shop the largest selection of Reds gear at your local Rally House today.
Tyler Naquin, a single and a K.
Now, Cleveland's bullpen is electric. Second best ERA among bullpens in baseball. Plesac at 97 pitches. Starters have ownership of games, right? They want to go as long as possible. And he probably knows he's coming up close to his ceiling as well as he's pitched.
I'll tell you, I'm just so impressed with the way that Austin Hedges is engaged into this game with Zach Plesac. I mean, he's kind of carrying him through. I think it's really one of the underappreciated parts of a good pitching performance is how important that catcher is. And, of course, Barnhart doing the same thing with Wade Miley. But, we're looking at two of the best defensive catchers around here tonight.
Pulled to first, a bit of a bound. Naylor stumbles. Plesac stretches on the cover. 1, 2, 3. Plesac has retired a dozen in a row, and Wade Miley's got a no-no. For Reds Live, the post-game show brought to you by your local Toyota dealers here on Bally Sports Ohio. Charlie and Sam will break it all down. Will they be breaking down a no-no? That's in progress for Wade Miley. He has been stellar.
Down and in to Jose Ramirez, who was popped to third, grounded to third. It's the third time that Wade Miley has taken a no-hitter into the 7th inning in his career. He did so in 2015 against the Angels. Cole Calhoun doubled to begin the 7th. He did so in 2016 against the Cubs. Chris Bryant singled in the 7th.
Remember, this is the guy, Jose Ramirez, who you just can't let him beat you. Here he comes up late in the ball game. It's good to see him get done here in the 7th inning.
They guard the line at third. Ramirez has been very good late in games, late in tight games.
Miley, who had spoken about his yearning to pitch deeper into games. First time he's pitched into the 7th since July of 2019.
What a good pitch right there. Miley shook off the curveball, came in with the cutter, and Ramirez gets a strikeout. First time he's punched out. I guess they call that a cutter. Looks like a little slurvy slider to me, although it really doesn't matter what you name it. I mean, he has just got great control of that pitch and eats up right-handers.
And Jose Ramirez rarely strikes out. It's one of his strengths. He's top 5 in the American League in lowest strikeout rate.
Backdoor just misses to Franmil Reyes. Miley retired the first 16 Cleveland hitters. Ahmed Rosario reached on error with 1 out in the 6th. A walk followed a couple of batters later. Nobody else has reached all night. Nobody has a hit against Wade Miley. Back to Miley. 2 down in the 7th. This is artistry. Now he'll tangle with Eddie Rosario, who was flied out and struck out. Now, Rosario had hit incredibly well in this ballpark as a Twin for years. He confessed that was part of the appeal of playing for Cleveland. Ground ball, gobbled, Farmer, no-hitter through 7. Wade Miley cruising in Cleveland. And a tightrope walk in a scoreless game.
Miley, a no-no through 7. And the defense backing him up are all-state good hands plays of the game. And it's not just making the plays, it's staying with the plays. Particularly see it on those last two. And remember, that's with the reshuffled infield defense for the Reds. Granted, men going back to more natural positions. Tucker Barnhart is grounded out. He has struck out. That helmet is beautiful.
I mean, satellites in space might be able to pick up the glint.
Well, you know, the best helmet probably since Greg Biggio.
Yeah.
I know a lot of pitchers like to get their hands on that helmet.
Yeah, there's some that whose bills of their ball cap might emulate it to some extent. Plesac at 102 pitches. He's been very, very good.
Doesn't look like he's overworked, although they're beginning to get their bullpen going. Brian Shaw back with the Indians.
One, two. Up and away. So the Reds offense now, Chris, in their last 26 innings at bat, 10 hits, 1 run.
And they're 1-0. They're 1-1. Okay. Well, 26 innings, yeah.
And Tucker Barnhart, remember, had the 2 hits in the otherwise silent night against Chicago. And that's up and in. 6 strikeouts. Plesac has retired 13 in a row. And now a short word from Miami Valley Gaming.
Shimmy on down and get ready to get lucky with Miami Valley Gaming.
Awesome.
He didn't dance with me, Chris.
I didn't know you were going to break down right here in the booth.
Yeah, we shimmy on down with that spot. Chair dance. I mean,
that's a loose definition of dance, I have to tell you, John.
Ball one to Kyle Farmer. Now you know what weddings that I rarely attend because of overlap of baseball have been exposed to for the last 15 years. Now Farmer a base hit tonight. The Reds' best chance came when Farmer singled to begin the third. Akiyama had reached on a miscue, and then fielder's choice, Jesse Winker, was up, met at the corners, bounced into a double play, first time all year. Farmer disagrees. They also had opportunity in the fourth when Castellanos had doubled, but 1 pitch ground out and then 2 dominant Ks from Plesac followed. Two. Man, Zach Plesac is on.
Well, he's really doing the same type of thing that Wade Miley is. Both of these pitchers on. They're moving the ball around to different parts of the strike zone, but they're also adding and subtracting speed. And when you can do both of those things, it's a complex challenge for hitters to put anything in play. I mean, his fastball has been very good at the top end of the strike zone. His curveball has been really good at the bottom end. Hasn't thrown as many sliders, but I mean, he's been there all night long.
Paints on the black into Akiyama, neutralizing his chance to bunt. Ramirez is in a step. His left cleat touches the grass at third. 111th pitch for Plesac, way outside. That's a lot of pitches, especially this stage of the year in today's game. He doesn't have a no-no going. If he loses Akiyama to Did they make the move to Shaw?
Ground ball right at Rosario. 15 in a row retired by Plesac. Wade Miley might have his first pitch thrown in a matter of seconds.
Reds baseball on Bally Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud. That's how quick Wade Miley is. There's ball one to Harold Ramirez. Wade Miley, the fourth Reds pitcher to carry a no-no into the eighth inning in the last decade. The three prior, Homer Bailey, July 2nd, 2013 against the Giants. He no-hit the Giants.
Homer Bailey, September the 28th, 2012 against the Pirates. He no-hit the Pirates. And Bronson Arroyo, who is making his Reds radio debut tonight, June the 26th of 2012 against the Brewers. He lost the no-no with one out in the eighth.
So he is in the house. Ground ball. Senzel. Let's break down our StatCast powered by Google Cloud. These are the strikeouts for Wade Miley tonight. That looks like a delicious bomb pop.
Well, you know, with all the right-handers in the Indians lineup, Miley is not afraid to pitch inside. Look, he's got, 5 strikeouts on the inner part of the plate, 2 changeups going away. And using the entire strike zone very well.
Josh Naylor, strikeout, ground out. Broken bat. Senzel challenged, one-footed throw, and he makes it. 2 down, eighth inning. Now Ahmed Rosario, who can fly. He was the first Cleveland man to reach. That was on a throwing error by Senzel in the 6th. Strike one. Man, is Wade Miley feeling it. He always pitches quickly, but this feels supersized.
Well, he's in a hurry to get a no-hitter.
Double barrel. T.J. Antone and Ryan Hendricks both warm.
Of course, the Reds need a run to make it hold up.
It's been 13 ground ball outs, 2 flies to the outfield, 7 strikeouts. Ground ball again. Farmer. Wade Miley with a no-no through 8. Magic in Cleveland. We go to the 9th. Time now for our Honda game summary. It's all about the pitching. Zach Plesac, who is now done, departs, having retired 15 in a row. 8 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts. Wade Miley's been better. He had a perfecto into the 6th. It's a no-no through 8. He has struck out 7, and it has been a tsunami of ground ball outs. The cutter, changeup, breaking ball, fastball, working brilliantly for Miley. And the Reds will have a chance to see a new pitcher. So Plesac's done after 15 in a row retired. It doesn't get easier. Here's the man with the hardest cutter in baseball and the rookie saves leader in the game, Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah, 23 years old, and he's, I can't say nailed down the closer's job, but Terry Francona eventually likes to pinpoint one guy to close out the ball games. He's very, very difficult to hit. All the numbers below the numbers, you know, the spin and the chase rate and all those things off the charts for Clase.
Nick Senzel, strike one, 98. Now Senzel leading off to get on a base. He's only done so on fielder's choice. He's 0 for 3.
On his career in the leadoff spot, a nearly 350 on the base. He's been great in small sample this year.
Clase is not allowed an earned run in 14 1/3 innings this year. Only Alex Reyes has gone longer this season without an earning. He did give up unearned runs in 3 straight outings in mid-April, the last of which came against the Reds.
You know, you may be watching Clase pitch and ask yourself, well, what is a cutter? It looks like a fastball to me. After all, he's throwing at 98 miles an hour. It's a pitch that comes off your hand just a little bit on the side, and it will cut away from a right-handed hitter.
But his cutter also kind of tunnels, oddly, huh?
Well, it seems like he stays on top of it so much. It's a little bit different than a Mariano Rivera cutter, but thrown, it looks like, in a similar fashion, where Rivera just had the natural release that through a cutter. When a pitcher says, I'm going to learn a cutter, what he's really learning is a modified slider.
Ground ball off Clase. Barehand Ramirez. Safe. Senzel.
Second time tonight, the speed of Nick Senzel has helped him reach first base. One on a fielder's choice. This one on a little ball that gets knocked down by the pitcher's foot.
Now remember, Clase, a blown save, came against the Reds. That was on the 17th. The Reds were down to their last man. 2 outs. Max Schrock in the 9th inning dribbled a ball to first base, reminiscent of the Buckner play in the Mets-Red Sox 86 World Series. It went 5-hole on Josh Naylor. Cracked by Winker in the left field. Senzel a turn and holds at second. Eddie Rosario lobs in. That was the unearned run on Clase that Schrock got aboard on the error by Naylor. The Reds were able to tie the game, force extras, and win it in walk-off fashion.
Now there is the cutter right there, and it's kind of sinker right there. 99 miles an hour, and finally Jesse Winker gets a pitch that he can handle. Amazing that it would be at 99. Goes to show you what hitting speed is nowadays for some guys.
He is the best fastball hitter by batting average in baseball, entered tied with Mike Trout. And now Nick Castellanos, who also feasts on fastballs and has doubled tonight. Reds trying to get at least a run as Wade Miley has a no-no in progress. In the dirt. Nice recovery by Austin Hedges. That keeps Senzel at second.
Or somehow he backhanded this ball first and was able to keep his body in front of it. A little bit of good fortune right there for the Indians, as neither of the Reds runners was able to move up on a really wild one.
Clase does have one wild pitch this year. Came this week against the White Sox. Down and away at 100.
Nobody talking to Wade Miley. Foul ball. David Bell's team starting a season-long 10-game road trip. The offense has been slight. 1 run in the last 27 innings. And they're trying to run their record to 2-1 in those games over that span. To right field, foul. The Reds offense had 3 hits against Plesac in the first 8. They have greeted Clase with back-to-back base knocks. Another 2-strike pitch. Grounded right side, gathered by Clase. Offline throw, sends out rounds third, he scores! Winker over to third base, and the Reds on top 1-0.
Well, a huge break for the Reds right there because Rosario was not covering the bag. Here we are in a shift again. He was playing very deep at shortstop. When Clase got the ball back to him, he's assuming that his shortstop's going to be coming across the bag, but he's not. He never really even gets there. He kind of plays behind the base right there, so when Clase throws it to him, he's a good 6 or 7 feet away from second base. Clase throws it wild, probably after he realizes that Rosario's nowhere near the bag, and that's the run the Reds are looking for.
I mean, this is eerily reminiscent of what happened when Clase had a rare breakdown and his defense failed him in the Reds' comeback win. And now you got the added import of Wade Miley tossing a no-no. And the rarity of Clase in a super high leverage spot, seeing action behind him in the bullpen as Phil Maton readies.
Show you the play again. Look where the shortstop is playing. He's way over here, and by the time he is able to right himself and get into the center of he still doesn't get to the bag. And I don't know whether they had arranged ahead of time. Normally in a double play situation, the pitcher makes eye contact with the fielder that's going to be covering the bag on a comebacker. Boy, fundamental baseball.
And now Mike Moustakas, who's 0 for 3. Takeoff from first base. By the time Clase steps off, he boxes another run. Winker scores, it's 2-0.
Well, you get a youngster on the mound, 23 years old, not a lot of major league experience on him. It's his first year in the big leagues. And he probably hears somebody in the infield say, step off, and he looked around and saw the runner go. He started his delivery and stop, a classic balk. You bring the runner in from second base, a huge mistake. Again, more fundamental baseball that cost the Indians a couple of runs here.
Officially scored, Castellanos reaching a fielder's choice and a throwing error by Clase. Downstairs, barely held on to. Austin Hedges has saved Clase a few times. And the opportunistic Reds, a 2-run lead. Swing and a miss. It feels like a magical night. The way that Miley has pitched, the way the Reds have concocted this inning.
nobody out. A chance for more. Castellanos a decent lead. 3-1. Fouled in and out of the glove.
Isn't it interesting? Are you seeing the same thing I am, John, that the Reds are getting much better swings on a guy throwing 101 miles an hour than they did all night with Zach Plesac?
Yeah.
Combination of slow curveball, sliders, fastball. I mean, they're letting it loose here at 99 and not one bit intimidated.
The Reds have been a great fastball hitting team. And they can lock in on that pitch. And I also just think that that confidence has to spill from the momentum earned in the inning. I mean, not only the season-long success against fastballs, period, the knowledge that they've spoiled an outing for Clase A on an otherwise largely pristine season. And they know what their pitcher has assembled for them thus far and what lies in wait. Hard ground ball gets through. Wave is on for Castellanos. That ball dies in the gap on the grass. Castellanos scores. Moustakas delivers a 3-run ninth, 3-0.
100 miles an hour with a little bit of movement on it. You can see that ball cutting into the left-hander, and it goes for a base hit. Castellanos never slows down, and a very quick in-and-out outing for one of the hardest throwers in baseball.
Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. 3-0 Reds. Thanks to PNC Bank, a limited number of fans in attendance will receive a Mike Moustakas bobblehead while supplies last. Can't make it that day? That's okay. PNC is you covered. The first 15,000 in attendance Saturday, May 22nd will get one too. Purchase your tickets today, Reds.com/promo. Moustakas just drove in the Reds' third run of the inning. The story of the game, Wade Miley, who has a no-hitter in progress. His team has just scored the game's first 3 runs. Emmanuel Clase is out. Phil Maton is in. Strike 1 on Eugenio Suarez. Maton has inherited 7 runners this year. 4 have scored. Challenges with a fastball. This is a Reds bullpen that entered with the second best bullpen ERA in baseball. Infield hit that clipped the pitcher, ricocheted to third. Firm base knock by Jesse Winker. 0-2. Outside, and then a fielder's choice in very unique fashion. Ahmed Rosario was in the neighborhood, but not on the bag when Emmanuel Clase tried to throw to the base. And officially scored errantly thrown away, plus a balk thereafter, led to the first couple of runs. He went.
To the plate now for Cincinnati.
Well, there's the first out, and this is a long inning for Wade Miley.
He'll
take
no hitter going. We have seen 3 or 4 no-hitters this year, depending upon your definition of them, if you include the Bumgarner 7-inning no-hitter for the Diamondbacks. Wade Miley finished one off tonight. Ball 1 to Tyler Naquin. What's going through his head right now?
He probably wants to get back out there on the mound as quick as possible. Now that he's got 3 runs in his support, he's probably thinking, you know what, that's all I need. But he's so locked in right now that you could shout in his ear, he probably wouldn't hear you.
We have seen him react to the offense this inning. When he's not pitching, he's often side by side with Sonny Gray. And it's a game-long dialogue between that duo. One I'd love to listen in on. There's Sonny coming off by far his best outing of not just this season, but might be able to go back a couple of years. He gave the Reds some length. Miley trying to author some history. Full count on Naquin. Barnhart on deck, who's been catching and calling this super game from Miley tonight. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back Ks for Maton, 2 down. And now Barnhart. What have you thought of the way that Tucker has called and received Miley tonight?
Well, I mean, he's catching a no-hitter. I think it's the proof is in the results right here. Tucker is one of the best quality catchers you're going to find out there, and he's locked in. And his main responsibility when he takes the field is to make sure his pitcher has a good night. And tonight, everything's going the right way.
Up and away. By the way, peeking ahead, Hedges, Hernandez, Luplo due up. 2 of those men in pronounced slumps. On the black.
See if Wade Miley can polish off this wondrous effort tonight, and perhaps you might be able to relive it on the pregame show tomorrow. Catch it before every Reds game, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing on Valley Sports Ohio. David Bell, Cincinnati Reds. On a night that feels like it might be touched with a bit of magic. Strike 3 called. A trio of strikeouts after 3 runs scored for Wade Miley. And we're going to stay right here as Wade Miley looks to make Reds and baseball history. Wade Miley's effort so far through his 8 no-hit innings. First time through, he was perfect with 4 Ks. In fact, he would retire the first 16 of the game. That effort was spoiled in the 6th when Ahmed Rosario reached on a throwing error by Nick Senzel. Later in the inning, Cesar Hernandez walked. No one else has reached all night.
It has been a mountain of ground ball outs. 106 pitches, 1 walk,
7 Ks. Wade Miley, 3 outs away. Now Cleveland, familiar with the no-no. Remember the toe hitter. April the 14th against Carlos Rodon of the White Sox. He had the perfecto going.
and would graze the cleat of Roberto Perez. Got some help defensively. That was the HBP. That was the only mistake all night, as a man who had overcome so much injury made history of his own. Since 1901, only one team has been no-hit twice in the first 31 games of a season. Oddly enough, it was the White Sox in 1917. Could Cleveland be that victim tonight? As the pride of Hammond, Louisiana, Wade Miley, who talked about wanting to go deeper in games. That was the biggest takeaway from his session this week. He said, I need to be more efficient. I want to give my team more length. Tries to pen his name in the all-time record book. Down and in against Rene Rivera. Stands in for Austin Hedges. In the air to right. 2 outs away.
Well, the other side of this is the home plate umpire, Lance Barksdale, who has never been behind home plate during a Major League no-hitter. He was the home plate umpire when Randy Johnson struck out 20 Reds back in 2001. He's been on the bases for a couple of other no-hitters. But he's seeing history there right up close and personal.
Strike one to Cesar Hernandez. 0 for 2 with a walk. That last fly out, only the third ball into the outfield all night. And that clips for a strike. Oh, 2. Strike 3. And Miley is 1 out away. Oh and 1. Jordan Luplo's 0 for 3. Ground ball. Farmer. Wizardry from Wade Miley. A no-hitter. And baseball history. A countryman from Louisiana, an avid hunter, a man of few words. He let his pitching do the talking tonight.
Well, it's a team effort. Even though Wade Miley throws the no-hitter, you can see by the reaction of his teammates how much he is beloved in the clubhouse, how important it is to have teammates that feel like that about you. This is a great moment, and that moment right there, getting a big hug from Tucker Barnhart, who worked with him perfectly all night long. What a great effort by Miley. I've got one question for you, John. Can he pitch tomorrow?
I think right now he would gladly take the ball every day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah. And, you know, you had a feeling that something was going on early on. You never really know, because Wade Miley is a guy that gets a lot of contact, and you never know if one of those ground balls is going to find a hole or a little blooper off the end of the bat. But he was in control all night long, and I mean, he pitched like his uniform was on fire. Didn't spend very much time on the mound at all. Minimum number of batters, it seemed, and ends up with a no-no on May the 7th, 2021, Cleveland, Ohio, and there it is.
Look how fired up Tucker Barnhart was there. Racing out to embrace his pitcher. The entire team wants a piece of Wade Miley. All of baseball wants a piece of Wade Miley. Derek Johnson, his pitching coach, they share such a kindred connection, spread overstays with multiple organizations. This is a baseball man. He's about as true a baseball guy as you'll find. And if you don't get goosebumps.
Well, tonight was start 255 in his major league career. Coming into tonight, he had one complete game shutout to his credit. And he nails down another tonight in a very big way.
9 innings, no runs, no hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts on 114 pitches. Every man in that dugout wants a chance for an embrace, for a high five, for a handshake. Yeah, this has been a closely knit clubhouse. Their PR man extraordinaire, Rob Butcher, escorting Wade over to the headphones because the fans want to hear from Wade Miley. And our own Jim Day standing by to get words with the Wizard, who was pure magic tonight. A no-no doled out in Cleveland. Jim, take it away, my friend.
It's going to be so cold.
What a magical night, Wade Miley. What are your emotions right now? Throwing a no-hitter.
I have no idea, man. That's so surreal. I mean, it's just first and foremost, like Tucker Barnhart, unbelievable job back there. Whole team, great job. Huge to come out to win the 9th inning. That was huge. But these dudes behind me got to get out of here with that mess. It's just a fun experience. Just a fun experience. I ducked it a little bit.
You caught a little bit of that. That's not the warmest of nights to have that happen.
Jesus. No. Yeah, I don't know. Just that was just awesome. The last 3 innings, I was just trying to get in, get out, make pitches. I was running out of gas, but found a little bit for that 9th, and defense made great plays all night. That was just a blast. Surreal.
And you got the bubblegum shower as well. How much does it mean to you? You're so liked in that clubhouse. So many players look up to you, and it was very obvious what this not only meant to you, but meant to your teammates. What did that scrum afterwards and everyone getting their chance to congratulate you? How much does that mean to you?
It means a lot. It's something obviously I'll never forget, and a lot of those guys will never forget. And just like I don't have words right now. I'm just blessed to have this opportunity and just to be able to come out here and play this great game, and for something like this to happen, I don't have the words for it. It was unbelievable, and just glad we be a part of it.
You have been a man of few words, but coming off the field, it looked like you had some emotion in your eyes. Can you put it into words how emotional this is?
It's very emotional. It means a lot. Alan Zinter, I was with Alan Zinter in 2009, 2010 in Mobile and AA with the Diamondbacks. And the words he said to me is just where I've came from, the things that we've accomplished. And just when he said that, it just meant a lot to me. And it was just cool to think back to see where I've came from. And obviously, who would ever thought I'd throw a no-hitter in the big leagues, but was able to accomplish it.
When did you start thinking about the no-no?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, 7th, 8th inning, I'm like, this could be a reality. I didn't know where my pitch count was. I didn't know. It was nothing. First and foremost, win a ball game. So I didn't know where we were at in that situation. But I think I went out right around 100 pitches. David let me go back out for the 9th. And fortunately, we had a quick one, and Thorne made a good play. And was over.
Scoring 3 runs in the top of the 9th, obviously very, very key. But you had a lot of time to sit and think about it, cool down a little bit. Did it make it tougher?
I feel like that's when the pressure kind of mounts a little bit when you really start thinking about it, because you don't know. It's nothing, who knows? And then we scored 3 runs right there. And it's like, let's go get 3 outs. And was fortunate enough to do it.
Well, Wade, congratulations. You are in Reds lore now. You've made baseball history tonight. It was fun to watch. And for such a great leader and such a competitive guy, we are so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I got to give a little shout out. My son made me wear this Hulk tattoo on my forearm, and I might have to get the real Hulk tattoo now. I don't know, but thank you, Jeb.
Very nice. So that is
awesome.
That is not a permanent tattoo, but you might get a permanent
one.
No,
I'm scared to death of needles. I'm probably not going to get I'll just keep getting the sticky one and put it on there every time.
Can you hold it up for us? I mean, we got to give the son some love, right? There we go.
Jeb Boone right there, yep.
Absolutely. That is tremendous. Congratulations, Wade Miley.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Wade Miley into Reds history. A no-hitter here on Bally Sports Ohio. What a scene to watch. Tipping the cap. And we have much more to come on this historic night. Wade Miley, the man of the hour. We're back after this.